Hawaii, locally, HWI, Hawaiian. Hawaii-StateSeal is the 50th and most recent U.S. state to join the United States, having joined on August 21, 1959. Hawaii is the only U.S. state located in Oceania and the only one composed entirely of islands. It is the northernmost island group in Polynesia, occupying most of an archipelago in the central Pacific Ocean. Hawaii is the only U.S. state not located in the Americas. The state does not observe daylight saving time. The state encompasses nearly the entire volcanic Hawaiian archipelago, which comprises hundreds of islands spread over 1,500 miles. At the southeastern end of the archipelago, the 8 main islands are, in order from northwest to southeast: Niihau, Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, Lanai, Kehoʻolo, Maui and the island of Hawaii. The last is the largest island in the group. It is often called the Big Island, or Hawaii Island, to avoid confusion with the state or archipelago. The archipelago is physiographically and ethnologically part of the Polynesian subregion of Oceania. Hawaii's diverse natural scenery, warm tropical climate, abundance of public beaches, oceanic surroundings, and active volcanoes make it a popular destination for tourists, surfers, biologists, and volcanologists. Because of its central location in the Pacific and 19th-century labor migration, Hawaii's culture is strongly influenced by North American and Asian cultures. In addition to its indigenous Hawaiian culture, Hawaii has over 1 million permanent residents, along with many visitors and U.S. military personnel. Its capital is Honolulu on the island of Oahu. Hawaii is the 8th smallest and the 11th least populous, but the 13th most densely populated of the 50 U.S. states. It is the only state with an Asian plurality. The state's coastline is about 750 miles long, the 4th longest in the U.S., after the coastlines of Alaska, Florida and California. Etymology: the state of Hawaii derives its name from the name of its largest island, Hawaii. A common Hawaiian explanation of the name of Hawaii is that it was named for Hawaiʻilo, a legendary figure from Hawaiian myth. He is said to have discovered the islands when they were first settled. The Hawaiian language word Hawaii is very similar to Proto-Polynesian ****, with the reconstructed meaning, homeland. Cognates of Hawaii are found in other Polynesian languages, including Maori, Rarotongan and Samoan. According to linguists Pukui and Albert E. elsewhere in Polynesia, Hawaii or a cognate is the name of the underworld or of the ancestral home. But in Hawaii, the name has no meaning. Speaking of state name, a somewhat divisive political issue arose in 1978 when the Constitution of the state of Hawaii added Hawaiian as a second official state language. The title of the state constitution is the Constitution of the State of Hawaii. Article 15, Section 1 of the Constitution uses the state of Hawaii. Diacritics were not used because the document, drafted in 1949, predates the use of the okana and the kahako in modern Hawaiian orthography. The exact speaking of the state's name in the island's language is Hawaii. In the Hawaii Admission Act that granted Hawaiian statehood, the federal government recognized Hawaii as the official state name. Official government publications, as well as department and office titles, use the traditional Hawaiian spelling with no symbols for glottal stops or vowel length. In contrast, the National and State Parks Services, the University of Hawaii and some private enterprises implement these symbols. A precedent for changes to U.S. state names was set in 1780 when the Massachusetts Bay State changed its name to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and in the 1820s when the Territory of Arkansas changed the speaking of its name to the Territory of Arkansas. Geography and environment. There are 8 main Hawaiian islands, 7 of which are permanently inhabited. The island of Niihau is privately managed by brothers Bruce and Keith Robinson. Access is restricted to those who have permission from the island's owners. Topography: the Hawaiian archipelago is located 2,000 miles southwest of the continental United States. Hawaii is the southernmost U.S. state and the second westernmost after Alaska. Hawaii, along with Alaska, does not border any other U.S. state. It is the only U.S. state that is not geographically located in North America, the only state completely surrounded by water and that is entirely an archipelago, and the only state in which coffee is cultivable. In addition to the 8 main islands, the state has many smaller islands and islets. Kaula is a small island near Niihau that is often overlooked. The Northwest Hawaiian Islands is a group of 9 small, older islands to the northwest of Kauai that extend from Niihau to Kure Atoll. These are remnants of once much larger volcanic mountains. Hawaii's tallest mountain, Mauna Kea, is 13,796 feet above mean sea level. It is taller than Mount Everest if measured from the base of the mountain, which lies on the floor of the Pacific Ocean and rises about 33,500 feet. Geology: the Hawaiian Islands were formed by volcanic activity initiated at an undersea magma source called the Hawaii hotspot. The process is continuing to build islands. The tectonic plate beneath much of the Pacific Ocean continually moves northwest and the hotspot remains stationary, slowly creating new volcanoes. Because of the hotspot's location, all currently active land volcanoes are located on the southern half of Hawaii Island. The newest volcano, Loʻihi Mount, is located south of the coast of Hawaii Island. The last volcanic eruption outside Hawaii Island occurred at Haleakala on Maui before the late 18th century, though it could have been hundreds of years earlier. In 1790, Kilauea exploded. It was the deadliest eruption known to have occurred in the modern era in what is now the United States. Up to 5,405 warriors and their families marching on Kilauea were killed by the eruption. Volcanic activity and subsequent erosion have created impressive geological features. Hawaii Island has the third highest point among the world's islands. On the flanks of the volcano's slope, instability has generated damaging earthquakes and related tsunamis, particularly in 1868 and 1975. Steep cliffs have been created by catastrophic debris avalanches on the submerged flanks of ocean island volcanoes. This isolation, in combination with the diverse environment, produced an array of endemic flora and fauna. Hawaii has more endangered species and has lost a higher percentage of its endemic species than any other U.S. state. One endemic plant, Brigomere, now requires hand pollination because its natural pollinator is presumed to be extinct. The 2 species of Brigomere, B. rockii and B. insignus, are represented in the wild by around 120 individual plants. To ensure these plants set seed, biologists rappel down 3,000-foot cliffs to brush pollen onto their stigmas. The extant main islands of the archipelago have been above the surface of the ocean for fewer than 10 million years, a fraction of the time biological colonization and evolution have occurred there. The islands are well known for the environmental diversity that occurs on high mountains within a trade winds field. On a single island, the climate around the coasts can range from dry tropical to wet tropical. On the slopes, environments range from tropical rainforest, through a temperate climate, to alpine conditions with a cold, dry climate. The rainy climate impacts soil development, which largely determines ground permeability, affecting the distribution of streams and wetlands. Protected areas: several areas in Hawaii are under the protection of the National Park Service. Hawaii has 2 national parks. Haleakala National Park, located near Kula on the island of Maui, which features the dormant volcano Haleakala that formed East Maui. and Hawaii Volcanoes National Park in the southeast region of the Hawaii Island, which includes the active volcano Kilauea and its rift zones. There are 3 national historical parks: Kalaupapa National Historical Park in Kalaupapa, Molokai, the site of a former leper colony; Kalokoʻonokoʻau National Historical Park in Kailua-Kona on Hawaii Island; and Puʻaronuʻu National Historical Park, an ancient place of refuge on Hawaii Island's west coast. Other areas under the control of the National Park Service include Ailakahakai National Historic Trail on Hawaii Island and the Arizona Memorial at Pearl Harbor on Oahu. The Papahanaumokuākea Marine National Monument was proclaimed by President George W. Bush on June 15, 2006. The monument covers roughly 140,000 square miles of reefs, atolls, and shallow and deep sea out to 50 miles offshore in the Pacific Ocean, an area larger than all of the national parks in the U.S. combined. Climate: Hawaii's climate is typical for the tropics, although temperatures and humidity tend to be less extreme because of near-constant trade winds from the east. Summer highs usually reach around 88 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and 75 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Winter day temperatures are usually around 83 degrees Fahrenheit. At low elevation they seldom dip below 65 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Snow, not usually associated with the tropics, falls at 13,800 feet on Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa on Hawaii Island in some winter months. Snow rarely falls on Haleakala. Mount Waialaelonkaurai has the second highest average annual rainfall on Earth, about 460 inches per year. Most of Hawaii experiences only 2 seasons. The dry season runs from May to October and the wet season is from October to April. The warmest temperature recorded in the state, in Pahala on April 27, 1931, is 100 degrees Fahrenheit, making it tied with Alaska as the lowest record high temperature observed in a U.S. state. Hawaii's record low temperature is 12 degrees Fahrenheit observed in May 1979 on the summit of Mauna Kea. Hawaii is the only state to have never recorded sub-zero Fahrenheit temperatures. Windward sides face cloud cover. Antipodes: Hawaii is the only U.S. state that is antipodal to inhabited land. Most of the state lies opposite Botswana, though Niuhau's antipode aligns with Namibia, and Kauai straddles the Botswana-Namibia border. This area of Africa near Maun, Botswana and Guernsey includes nature reserves and small settlements near the Okavango Delta.